Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Invisible India podcast.
Hello.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Abhishek.
Nice to be back with you after a while on the pod. We are going to talk today. We've had a lot of questions, and we're going to talk today about the difference between COVID in the US and in India. We've had a bunch of people ask us questions about this topic because we just traveled from India to the US and then back again during COVID. So for those of you who've been following our story, you know that we were here during lockdown. Then we also went to the US during kind of a tough period. And then now we're back in India. So we're going to talk a little bit about some questions that we've gotten from people. Disclaimer. We are not health experts.
Yeah.
We are just sharing our opinions and our experiences. So, first question, what was lockdown like in India?
What was lockdown like in India, in our part of India? Total lockdown, like you cannot get out of the house. It was actually the meaning of the word lockdown. And yeah, it was more like a curfew. It was more like the first 2 or 3 months, it was more like curfew. Or rather than, and usually in India that only happens at a curfew level, only happens when there's like riots or protests or some sort of civil unrest, political unrest. So this was a unique time when something like this happened, when you couldn't see the visible threat, like you know, it's invisible microorganisms. And it went on lockdown. So that was a very unique experience for India. Lockdowns are not as unique, or crisis and people staying home is not as unique, at least in our part of the country.
Kind of happens a lot, actually.
Floods happen and all kinds of other disasters could happen. But in this case, it was national lockdown where everybody was inside the house for several weeks.
Yeah, several weeks. Like, I think for us, it started on March 23rd and then went all the way until, they kept extending. It was like 21 days, 21 days, 21 days, 21
right,
days.
Like three times.
Yeah, several times.
Yeah.
That was pretty rough. For several months, we were not allowed to leave the house at all, except for getting essential services, which doesn't mean Social Security cards and going to do this and going to do that, and the offices were not open at all.
Even in America, I think
water,
driver's license
food
was not open for a month. Even in America, I think 1 or 2 months, but here it was longer.
It was like you literally could get nothing done except get food and go to the hospital and go to the bank. That was one thing. That was it. And maybe your phone could get charged, but that was like it. Seriously.
Yep.
So it was kind of rough. We definitely had a struggle. Our kids weren't able to leave the house, weren't able to play. That was really, really tough. Really tough. Really, really tough. So at some point, we were all, just like everyone else across the world, we were doing our cooking at home and creating new habits. And I think in the US, people were able to go for walks and kind of do like socially distanced meetup in their car and drive by this and that. And here it was like absolutely nothing. So that was definitely difficult. However, so we felt definitely that challenge. When we ended up going to the U.S. in September, because we were supposed to have gone in the summer, we had tons of work. There was just so much we needed to do, and we also had some medical things which we really needed to take care of. So we had to go. We went on September
1st.
September 1st we went, and we ended up staying for 4.5 months. So the second thing that people have been asking us was, America में इतना ज़्यादा कोरोना चल रहा है, like, is it really as bad in the US as all the reports are showing? So what do you say when people ask you that?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that testing and reports are higher in America than here probably, but also people, in India, it's the options are either a full lockdown or a severe lockdown or no lockdown. And if you have you cannot afford severe lockdown for many months here. Whereas in America, it feels like it's in the middle somewhere, where people still go out running, and yeah, banks are still open. Lots of things are open, but it's not full lockdown. But it is. There still is a lot of fear that yeah, at least in the northern part of North America, and in a more areas that are more, highly populated, tend to be more serious about the virus, whereas other places seem to be a little more relaxed and loose, and probably yeah. I mean, it feels really bad that over there it has really affected people economically, and here too. But here now everything is open, so now it's up to people and the economy to recover slowly. But I don't know if in America it's recovering. It's probably not in the recovery phase yet. It's just still in the plateau phase. So yeah, in India, I think now it's hard to know. It's hard to say. I'm have to stop paying attention actually to Corona news in India and to Corona different things. But it seems like in some states it's increasing in the south and in the west. But I don't really know what else is happening out here.
Right. So some people have said that, because of testing is not happening in India, now all of a sudden the numbers have dropped. It's like, well, testing was never really happening on a large scale anyway. So it's not like all of a sudden the testing is dropped. And it's hard to know really what's happening here. And I guess that was another question that people were asking is, what is happening in India? Like, why all of a sudden has it seemingly disappeared? Like,
Yeah.
It hasn't really disappeared, but
I don't really know.
nobody knows. And
Not more knowledgeable people might have a better understanding of what has happened or what's not has happened. Because I don't know exactly to what extent the testings were done. I don't know what extent the mortality took place. I don't know who was affected, who was not affected. In America, it seems, or in the West, or in many other countries, it seems that reporting is a little more robust. But it might as well be that in India, corona is very less. I mean, you have to give the benefit of the doubt that in spite of not having data here and reporting be fudged, it might be true that there is very less, virus left here for some reason or the other.
Mm-hmm. Some people have said, it might be herd immunity, or there might be some kind of like protection from other viruses that antibodies that have built up in your body that we get here. But really, it's very hard to know. So what does it look like on the ground locally? As far as, like, how are people's behaviors right now as we're talking in late February here in India?
At least in our state, it's totally normal. Like there is no corona, as if there's no corona. Only when you go to the hospitals, people wear masks. And when people go to the enclosed official areas, people do wear masks. And in hotels and in restaurants, some people I see wearing masks. But yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Other than that, basically people are acting like it's gone. And it's kind of odd because we were hearing reports in August, September of people dying, like people that we knew, and young people as well. It wasn't just elderly people. And now it's like we haven't heard of anyone that's even gotten sick in months. So as far as from what it's looking like on the ground, it's kind of a mystery. No one really knows what's happening here. It's a bit confusing. How was it traveling during COVID? What was the flight like? Was it safe? That's one people have asked a lot.
We survived. I don't know if it is safe for everybody else, but we were safe. And we were safe, and all of our other friends who have traveled in the last 6 months have been safe in the flights. No one has gotten sick right after the flight within 10 or 15 days. So it's been safe flight-wise.
Yeah. I personally, I mean, yeah, it's hard to answer. Is it safe? I think experts are still talking about that, but we felt very safe. It was extremely clean. The airports were being swept over and over and sanitized, and there was definitely ample amount of sanitizer, and washing stations were there. The airplanes themselves were taking a lot of precautions, and if someone was taking off their mask, they would mention it to you. Like, you need, ma'am, please put your mask on. Please put your mask on the child. Different things like that. So it was kind of important. It was being enforced for sure. Going around in the U.S. and whatnot, I felt like people were taking it pretty seriously in more densely populated areas. But as we went out into different areas, as we were traveling, we did do a road trip. We had some people we needed to see along the way. We also did some outdoor activities like hiking and things. And in the less populated states, no one was wearing a mask. Like, it was just as if there was nothing going on. But as you were in larger cities, we definitely felt more that there was an awareness, and people wearing masks, people were taking it seriously, and things were closed. So for us personally, it was still worth it to go. We really needed to go. We had some serious stuff we had to take care of. So for us, the safety level was, we were more unsafe if we didn't take care of these medical and other important things than taking the risk of getting COVID and travel in the U.S. So that's why we made that decision. Another thing people have asked is, when are tourist visas to India opening again? We have no idea. No one has any idea. There's really no information we have that we could share. Back in March, the government of India banned tourists, almost all visas actually, from entering India, and then slowly over time had opened up different possibilities to re-enter the country. So they had the program where they were bringing back citizens, Indian citizens from different countries. Then slowly they opened it up to OCI. Then slowly they opened to business. And as of right now, tourist visas are not open. And no one knows when they're going to open. When is the vaccine coming?
Vaccine is coming. It's just applying them is going to take some time. Yeah, I think, just like in the US, many people have gotten already the vaccines, but healthcare workers and police are the first ones to get it. And then, I don't really know. I don't really think about it. I don't have to think about it because life is going it seems like life is going pretty much as usual. I'm not in a hurry to get a vaccine, I guess. But either people have herd immunity here or something is going on. That's why a lot of people are not getting sick. So,
and it's not the 90% coverage like some of the other ones in the U.S. and whatnot are, but it's supposed to have 70% coverage. So one thing I find interesting about the vaccine thing here is that the way they're rolling it out, of course, doctors and medical people have gotten it first, and then a lot of people who are actually working on the streets, so like sweepers, the people that actually clean garbage and clean the street, they're now getting the vaccine, which I think is incredible. I think that it's a really important step to acknowledge that it's not just the wealthy people that matter, and I think that's a really important step that was being taken, because a lot of people that are sweeping and cleaning garbage they're seen as like low class, and I think it's an important step that India has taken to, at least in our state, to get these people protected to an extent. Yeah.
I think that was about it, right?
Yeah. So feel free to hop on and subscribe here at our YouTube, and we also have, of course, we're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Podcasts, and some Indian sites as well, JioSaavn and Ghana. One other thing we have going on in 2021 is Patreon. So if you enjoy gaining from this free podcast that we put out twice a month, we would love to have your support. It's patreon.com/invisibleindia. And of course, anytime you sign up for Patreon, you get special access to different content and get access to answering questions, asking us questions. And the different tiers are there. Of course, I think the lowest one is $3 or something like that. So feel free to hop on there. Of course, I know every podcaster asks, leave a review, but for reals, leave us a review. It helps us to know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong and how we can improve. Write to us, follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Thanks for watching.
All right. Bye.